Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for our webinar, the last of our big webinars of the season. So we've had a series of webinars about the small benefit and AllGo Mastercard and various aspects of rewarding staff this time of year. So I'm just going to quickly do some introductions and we'll get into the meat of the webinar. As always, we'll record this webinar and email it out to all the registered people afterwards, together with some of the assets and some of the links that we're going to discuss today. So on the panel today, Gary Purcell is my name. I'm the CEO of AllGo Mastercard, and I'm joined on the panel by Sorka, who's our customer service manager and is very busy at the moment. I've managed to drag her out of the operations for an hour to talk about the MasterCard cutoff dates, ordering, all that sort of stuff. We've got Sinead as well joining us on the marketing side as well. And Sinead will be running the Q&A session, which will be the biggest part of this webinar. So if you've got any questions, you can put them in at any stage into the Q&A section on the Zoom panel, and we will get to them after the initial presentation. So the content today, quick round of introductions, nearly finished that. Very quick overview of the MasterCard, and in particular the differences between MasterCard Physical Card and MasterCard Digital Plus. Then Sorka is going to bring us through the order process, because it's important to understand that how you need to order these cards, the lead times, and then most importantly, the cutoff dates if you want to get your order in for delivery to your staff before Christmas. Then we'll have the Q&A. All told, we'll be done and dusted in 50 minutes, 55 minutes, we hope. So just a very quick slide about AllGo. We are used by about 10,000 Irish companies every year to reward staff on the small benefit scheme. We've been doing this since 2016. We're based in Dublin. We have 40 employees at this time of year. We're a guaranteed Irish company, 10,000 gift card clients, like I said, and we also run recognition programs through our sister company, Amplify Recognition. We also run a gifting website, allgifts.ie, which can also actually be used for the small benefit scheme. But today we're focusing on AllGo Mastercard, which is our biggest product that's popular at this time of year for Irish companies. And we're going to go through the ins and outs of that. So just before we get started, very quick poll to get people awake. What I just want to ask everybody, if you wouldn't mind, take 2 seconds, is how much are you going to give on the small benefit scheme this year? It's €1,000 tax free. It hasn't increased to €1,500 yet. So what are people looking to spend per employee on average on the small benefit this year? Or maybe you've already ordered cards. What have you ordered? What values are you looking at? Always interesting to know that. So lots of answers coming in here. Just give it another few minutes for people to click on how much they will give this year. Okay, great. Nearly everybody has voted. All right. So what are the results? Let's have a look. Results are primarily €1,000 is the most popular category, followed by 500 to 750. Followed by 100 to 250. But an even spread, I would say. So 20% of people up to 250, 250 to €500 is 15%, 16% 500 to 750, another 20%, and then marginally €1,000 is the highest category. But there's a good spread there, and that's what we expect. Different companies are awarding different amounts, and within companies, different amounts have been awarded to staff based on how long they've been in the company or any other recognition programs that are used for calculations. But that's interesting to know. So I'm going to hand over to Sorka now, who's going to run through the details of the MasterCard gift card and the lead times, etc.
Hi guys, it's great to have you all here again today. So to start off, just a quick overview of the AllGo Mastercard. So AllGo offer a universal preloaded gift card, which can be spent in nearly 100 million stores over the globe, both in store and online. So you just look out for that Mastercard symbol, which is in most shops. You'd still see it in the window. Um, It is a single load non-ATM MasterCard gift card. So it can't be topped up. It's just loaded once, and then once you've spent. And you also can't withdraw funds as per the small benefit scheme. So you won't be able to use the card in an ATM or with bank transfer. And we do offer two separate formats. So the physical card, which I'll dive into in a minute, is spend in store with swiping and signing the receipt and also online. And then the digital card is spending in store by contactless payment through your Google Pay or Apple Pay wallet, and it can be used online as well. So moving on to the physical card, when your recipients receive their card, they will be presented with an envelope and their name is in the window of the envelope just to make distribution a bit easier for yourselves. The card is presented in a card carrier with instructions on how to activate the card and the recipient's name and the amount that is loaded on the card. So this card can be ordered on allgogiftcard.com. We do require a spreadsheet of the recipients under anti-money laundering legislation. And there are a few options if you would like to make the card that bit more personal. So on the card carrier that accompanies every card, you can ask us to input your personalized message. We do also have a logo option that can be printed on the envelope itself. And for those larger orders, we offer branded card carrier in your company colors with the logo or a branded greeting card, which accompanies the main card carrier. Delivery for the physical MasterCards, the standard option is bulk delivery, which we send out with one of our couriers to your location. We can batch the cards up depending on department or manager to make distribution that bit easier. We also offer individual delivery for a minimum order of 30 cards, which will go straight out to the employees' home addresses, which you provide on your spreadsheet. And for larger orders, again, portal delivery allows each of your employees to log in to give us their home address directly, and then we arrange everything from there. So the digital option, um, it's much easier distribution. So digital cards are distributed to recipients by email, and as I said previously, they can be used in the wallet and online as well. So in previous years, we did require a mobile number to allow recipients to redeem their card. However, now it's only linked to their email. So whichever email address you put down on your spreadsheet is the one that they can redeem it with. And the ordering for the Digital Plus card is also on allgogiftcard.com. And there is that it's a slightly different spreadsheet that just includes the recipient spreadsheet that include that that requires the email addresses for recipients. Branding options then for the digital cards, same as the physical, you can include a personalized message. Obviously, this is digital, so it's included in the email they receive with the card. And for larger orders, we offer a branded card email, which would be sent prior to the actual digital card email itself. And as I said, delivery is by email directly to each individual recipient. So now the ordering process. The foundations are quite the same for either card type. You place your order online on allgogiftcard.com. There are two separate forms for digital versus physical, and you must upload a spreadsheet of the employees for both. In the background, we run our own security checks as part of our KYB process just to make sure that your company is verified with us. And then once that's complete, we will issue you the invoice via email. Um, the next step would be to pay your invoice, please. So the payment method for the AllGo Mastercards is bank transfer, and when you receive your invoice, it will have an individual IBAN especially created for your company listed there to ensure that your funds are secure and segregated from other companies' funds. And then finally, we will process and dispatch your order. So um, the team are all working diligently here. There's about 20 people working like elves. And then the final step is card activation. So the activation process for physical cards is on our website, allgogiftcard.com. There's a cardholder login option, and then there's a really in-depth guide on how to activate your cards and the frequently asked questions, which we are constantly updating. And for digital cards, it is through the Get My eCard app. So moving on to lead times. Our standard lead time for both physical and digital cards is that your order will be dispatched or your cards will be sent within 4 working days of receipt of payment. So can't process anything before the funds are received. So that 4 business day lead time is just something to be aware of. And for express orders, which is an additional €1 per card, the cards would be ready for dispatch within 24 hours of receipt of payment. That does not mean express delivery, however. So, question you've all been waiting for. The cutoff times for 2024. So for physical cards, we would ask that in order to have your cards before that special day, December 25th, you would need to order and pay by Wednesday, the 18th of December for delivery before that date. So we won't be able to guarantee that. It's best that you submit your order as soon as possible. You can hold on to those physical cards if needs be, if you'd like them closer to the date. And then for the digital cards, it is order and pay by Friday, the 20th of December. So you have a bit more time with the digital process just because it is automatic. But definitely have your order in and paid for by Friday, the 20th of December. So those emails get sent out before the 25th. Now, important dates to note. So AllGo operates a very scary red zone during the 9th of December to the 21st of December. So in this time, we are at our maximum capacity. Everyone is working like crazy to make sure that your orders get fulfilled, you get your invoices. So during this time, I would recommend just so you're prepared that responses will be slower. You won't receive the same amount of service that you'd usually see throughout the year, especially from our customer service team, as everyone is all hands on deck to process those orders and get the cards out. So I think Gary's going to pop through another poll. So we'd like to know what gift card format would you are you preferring for your recipients this year under the small benefit scheme? So physical or digital, maybe you have a split. Some people are receiving physical, others digital. If you could give us your responses on the poll window. Get your responses in fast. All right, let's see. Wow. So very high for the physical cards. They're coming out as the overall most popular option at 59% of you guys. Digital cards is just less than half of that amount at 21%, and a mixture of both is also quite popular at 20%. I think it's really important to kind of know how your employees, like what format your employees would prefer. Maybe some are more tech minded and others aren't, but both are quite easy to use and can be they can be guided through the process with our extensive guide on allgogiftcard.com.
Right. And I think one point there, the physical and digital, that is exactly how we see orders coming in throughout the year. So approximately 70% physical and 30% digital when it all boils down to it. So that's actually very accurate figures there, I think. And I when we move on to Q&A, I think, Sorka, one of the first questions is, how do you go about, because if 20% of people are ordering a mixture of physical and digital plus cards, how do they do that? How do they split their order and put that order through on our website?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a question I think we had last time as well. So, unfortunately, because the cards work in a slightly different way, we have different systems that facilitate the fulfillment of those digital versus physical orders. So, if you did want a mixture of both, you would have to place separate orders for each. So, if you want 20 physical cards, they're going to go through the physical order form on allgogiftcard.com, and then maybe 15 digital cards, it's the digital form. So you would receive separate invoices for those, and they both have their separate card charges, and those pricing structures can be found on allgogiftcard.com as well.
Okay, great. And I'm going to hand over to Sinead then to go through the other questions that are coming in. So if you have a question, just pop it into the Q&A there, and we'll answer it live here on the webinar. And we also will try to answer it back in writing if we have time, depending on the number of queries that come in as well. So just click on Q&A, and I'll hand you over to Sinead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us this morning. And thank you, Circa, for that wonderful presentation. So yeah, as Gary says, please pop your questions into the Q&A box and I'll dive straight in here. So Margot is wondering about ordering both the digital and the card option, but doesn't want to give to staff until the 21st of December and is worried they will get an email 4 days after the invoice is paid. So can we clarify how the emailing works?
Yeah. So there's no control over the dates that the digital plus gift cards go out. So this is something that's actually in the works. So maybe next year we'll have a situation where we will be able to schedule a date to send them out. But right now, if we place an order for Digital Plus onto the Mastercard system, as soon as the invoice is paid and the funds hit your client wallet, they're automatically matched and the digital cards will be sent out. So you can't be exact about it, but you could reckon that if you're ordering Digital Plus and you pay the invoice, your digital cards will go out the next day, the next working day. But it's not an exact science. So if you've got a split of digital and physical, obviously physical, you order in advance, you get delivered by bulk delivery, so you have those in your hand for distribution exactly on the day you want. And for digital, because it'll be processed as a separate order and you'll get a separate invoice for it, you pay that invoice on the 20th, and the digital cards won't be emailed out until the 21st. But you've got to give or take. It can't be guaranteed, but that's the best you'll be able to do.
That's brilliant. Thank you. I've got a question here from Karen asking, can physical cards be added to the mobile wallet by recipients?
Karen, unfortunately, we don't have that option yet. So if that's something that your recipients are looking for, I'd probably recommend the digital cards.
That's great. Thank you, Circa. So Karine now is asking, what is the minimum requirement to order physical cards?
No, you can order one card. You can order 5,000, 10,000 cards. The process is actually exactly the same. So even if you're just so there's no minimum. If you're ordering one card, you just need again to go on to the allgogiftcard.com website, click on order card, order physical, order digital. The order form is there, and you just need to click and download the spreadsheet, the relevant spreadsheet. So if you're only ordering one card and it's physical, you go onto the order form, click to download the spreadsheet, put in the details. It's just a few details: name and amount for physical, name, email, and amount for digital, unless you are trying to batch them or do something else or put in a personalized message. So and then you complete the form, and you'll get your invoice sent to you.
Great, thank you very much. Rena is asking, if you ordered last year, is the IBAN going to be the same this year?
That's a good question. So I'll let you answer that.
Yes, so Rena, we actually launched a brand new invoicing system just at the beginning of October this year. So we are still fine-tuning this system. What I would recommend is just paying close attention to each individual invoice, as sometimes the IBANs may change. This if you can call us at any point to verify the IBANs, but it just means that that is the IBAN that's associated to your latest order. So that's where you need to pay in order to fund your IBAN.
Now, if in the worst case scenario, you do transfer to your old IBAN and for some reason the system has generated a new one for you, uh, we can transfer the funds from the old one to the new one or vice versa. But it's just an extra step that you just don't need to, which can cause a delay. So once you get your invoice, just check. It should be the same IBAN as previously, but if it's not, just pay into the one on the invoice. Isn't that the best advice, I think, so?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Pat is wondering if you could give us a brief summary on prices.
Yeah, so pricing, there's a cost per card, a basic cost per card, which for physical starts at €5, and depending on the number of cards you order, goes right down to zero. If you order more than €200,000 worth in a single order, but the basic starting point is €5 if you order one card. Um, there's delivery on physical, which is €15 up to 100 cards. And that's it. Then there's optional extras like the personalization and the branding. For digital, the card charge starts at €6 and goes down to €1 for orders over €200,000. And again, there's no delivery charge on that. And there are the personalization and branding options there as well, but you don't have to opt for those. So all of those charges are on our website, on our homepage. If you go on to allgogiftcard.com, scroll down, you'll see physical, you'll see an overview of the pricing, and then a click through to go to all the detailed pricing that's there. Same with Digital Plus. So it's all presented pretty clearly on our homepage.
Thank you very much. I have a few questions coming in about the small benefit scheme, so it might be an opportunity to talk a bit about that. A couple examples here are how to find the spreadsheet for declaring to revenue, and can you give someone a gift card and then a bonus through payroll? So maybe just you could spend a moment on the small benefit scheme for us.
Sure. So the spreadsheet for revenue, well, you can use the spreadsheet that you upload to order the cards if you want, but you will need to put in the PPS number when you're returning it to revenue. We don't need that, but you will need that for revenue. And it depends on what way you make that return to revenue. And for anybody who doesn't know, in the start of January, enhanced revenue reporting came in, which means that for a number of different expenses, small benefit being one of those, that when you give a gift card to an employee, you need to report it to revenue. Not that it's taxed in any way, or not that revenue do anything with it, but they want they want the information now. And so how that normally works is that in the months that you have given a gift card to somebody, you include that in the payroll information that's processed at the end of the month. So we gave somebody actually a €500 card this in our own company last week, and then we ran the payroll this week, and we put down €500. It went to payroll. It was uploaded into revenue. It wasn't taxed, but it was processed in that way. So the payroll software, the payroll company that you work with, or the payroll part of your accounts department will include that in the payroll return at the end of the month. You can do it directly onto Ross, but most people do it via the payroll software and payroll system that they have. But that's the rule now. You need to report these cards to revenue. That was number one. Number two, if someone received €1,000 on a gift card and then pay a bonus through regular payroll. Absolutely. That's what most companies actually do. You can pay bonuses tax-free through the small benefit scheme up to €1,000 this year, €1,500 next year, by giving them a gift card. There's only one thing you need to be aware of, and that is salary sacrifice is not allowed on the small benefit scheme. So if you have a company bonus, which is a discretionary bonus, it's not guaranteed every year and it goes up and down, that's perfectly fine. Put the first €1,000 through on a gift card and it's tax free, and the rest pay through payroll, subject to the normal taxes. But if for some reason it doesn't happen very often, that you've somehow got a guaranteed amount of bonus every year, which is part of a person's standard remuneration, then you can't really sacrifice or substitute some of that guaranteed bonus for a card. Strictly speaking, that is salary sacrifice, and it's excluded from the small benefit scheme.
That's great. Thank you very much for clarifying. I have a few more questions about the ordering spreadsheet while we're on the topic of spreadsheets. So a few questions around, do you need all the employee names and email addresses, or can one company email address be put in to receive all the cards so that they can be given out themselves?
So this is a query we see a good bit. So as I mentioned, the digital plus cards used to be associated to recipients' phone numbers, and now they are associated to recipient emails. So that email is the only email that will be able to redeem and use that digital card. So if you were to order 20 cards under, say info@allgo.ie, whoever has access to that email will be able to access and use those cards only. So if you issue them all there, that's where they're tied. That's the only person that can use them. And the emails cannot be easily updated if your order is complete and it's gone through to the wrong email. So it's not an easy process to get them changed. So I would recommend definitely having each individual's employee their email. It doesn't have to be a work email, can be their personal email if you prefer. So yes. Um,
I have another question coming in here about, is there a use by date where the balance reduces on the cards?
There is a 12-month, and Gary, I just wonder, could you pop back up the screen on the presentation, please? Thank
Sorry,
you.
I'm messing around here. I shouldn't be going off piece like that.
Okay. So there is no charge for using the card in the first 12 months that we issue it. So this is digital and physical. So once we load the card, that 12-month period begins where there is no charge for using it to your heart's content. Now, after 12 months, so in the 13th month, if there is any balance remaining on either type of card, it will be subject to a €3 monthly maintenance fee. So that fee only occurs if there's any balance left, and unless the card is spent, the fee will continue to run down the card balance until it reaches zero. So I just recommend it. I mean, it must be a luxury to not have to access those funds immediately, but I would recommend getting them spent within that first 12 months, just so you have all of the funds that you've been awarded and can use it how you please.
Thank you very much. I know you mentioned about company branding and customization in the presentation, and I do have a question here about, for the physical cards, what is the cost to have the logo on the envelope?
The cost is 50 cents, unless I'm very much mistaken. Have it on the outside. A color logo, and you upload it on the spreadsheet on the order form as well. Ideally, you upload your logo in a PNG format with a transparent background, and it'll be printed beautifully on the envelope.
And it's 75 cents. Sorry,
Oh,
Gary.
I'm sorry. 75 cent. Yeah, 75 cent.
Thank you very much. I have a question asking for a reminder about the order date. So they arrived late. So maybe we'll go over those one more time just for final emphasis. If you could pop them back on the screen, that'd be brilliant.
Oh, sorry. I'll get this up. I'll get this going here 1 second. And in fact, we should probably just leave this one up when I get to it.
So the one really important thing to note is that you should realistically place your order as fast as possible. So it will just ensure that you have the most smooth process as possible. But if you are kind of really cutting it close to the line and you want to just give the cards and send the employees out the door for the holiday break, then for physical cards, it's 18th of December. That's when you will have to have your cards ordered, and you will have to have the invoice paid by that date. to ensure delivery before December 25th. So that is the very, very last day. And again, that's not guaranteed. For digital cards, a bit more leeway. It's Friday the 20th of December that you have to have it ordered and paid for. And then those emails will be sent out before the 25th.
Thank you very much. I have two similar questions here about if you had an order last year and nothing has changed and you wish to reorder the same number of cards and details of staff are the same, do you need to complete the order all over again?
So what I would recommend is you would need to place the order again on our website. You could always drop us an email if you don't have the spreadsheet from last year on your own records. You can drop us an email on orders@allgogiftcard.com. And if you are the client, if you are the contact for that order last year, we can provide you with the previous spreadsheet that you can then use, but it will still need to go through allgogiftcard.com on the order form.
And then in a
And also,
similar, oh, sorry.
oh, sorry, it's a similar question, yeah, because I think I see it here about whether you need to go through the clearance through the KYB process again, and you do, but it shouldn't cause any delay. You shouldn't have to do anything. It just happens in the background. Basically, it takes your CRO number, the system does, and it runs a check on it. And if you've passed the KYB process last year, then it'll go automatically through this year. That's how it should work.
That's great. Thank you very much. I can see a question that just come in about will the webinar will be available to rewatch and the slides available to view. And I will say that yes, the recording will be going on allgogiftcard.com. So you will be able to access and rewatch this if you missed the start. But if you do have any questions right now, do pop them into the Q&A and we'll see what we can clarify for you. What else have I here? So I have a question about whether the physical cards can be used by chip and pin, or does it have to be signature only?
So
Sorry, sorry, on you.
sorry, I'm just so passionate about this information. So the physical cards have a black mag strip on the back of them, and that it needs to be used by swiping it on the card machine. So when you get the physical cards, you'll notice there is no pin on it. So if you insert the card, the machine won't even recognize that there is anything there. So it will need to be swiped along the card machine. And there's no pin, just to add, there's no pin to use the card.
Thank you very much. Going to circle back to the small benefit scheme very quickly. Someone has asked, the limit been increased to 1,500 tax-free? That's actually going to be for 2025. So for 2024, the limit is still €1,000, but the most recent budget has increased that for 2025. It will be €1,500. And then another question, which I'm not sure, maybe Gary will be able to shed some light on this one. Someone's saying that they're self-employed with a number of employees. Revenue don't seem to be sure whether they're eligible for the scheme. Have you come across this before at all?
Yeah, it's our view on it, and we're not tax experts, but I think it's pretty clear, is that in order to avail of the scheme, you yourself, whether you are self-employed or not, you need to be in receipt of what's known as Schedule E income. So you need to be an employee of your own business. Now, a sole trader, if you're a sole trader, you're not employed. You're not employed in your own business, and therefore you don't have Schedule E income, and therefore you can't avail of the small benefit scheme. However, if you're a sole trader and you have employees, your employees can avail of the small benefit scheme. I'm self-employed in my company, but it's a limited company, and I'm a director and I get a salary. I do qualify for the small benefit scheme, albeit at the lower self-employed PRSI rates, which we don't even have to get into here. But basically, yes, I can. I'm self-employed. Whether you can or not depends on the type of business that you have and the entity it is, and whether you're in receipt of income. It also happens in cases that people are executive directors, or sorry, non-executive directors of companies, and they're not in receipt of income, or they're only in receipt of dividends. Then they can't qualify for the small benefit because they're not employed by the company. But if you're employed and you receive a salary of €5 a month, you can avail of the full €1,000. So we think it's sort of clear, but I'm not surprised Revenue are not going to give you a definitive answer either way.
Thank you very much. I have two questions that just come in about the physical card, asking, can it be used online if it is swipe only?
So yes, absolutely. Each of the card types, before you can use them online, you would have to go through an extra step after you either activate or redeem your card, and that's what we call 3D secure. So this is how Mastercard secures the cards for online payments, and many online merchants would require cards to be set up with this extra security feature in order to complete transactions. So um, on your allgogiftcard.com or allgo.getmybalance.com cardholder account, you will see a big banner that says 3D Secure must be enabled, and it details the steps. So it's just a case of putting in your phone number and setting up that option so that when you complete an online transaction, you'll be sent a verification code via SMS, and that will allow you to complete a transaction online.
That's great, thank you. And can you also then just clarify the activation process before using cards in store as well as online?
Yeah, absolutely. So for security purposes, all of the cards are issued by us in a locked status. This is just to ensure that between the cards leaving our office and arriving at yours, that no one can intercept those cards and have a great holiday on your on your recipients cards. So the process would be once the cardholder receives their card, they can either log in if they have an account on the cardholder website, or they can create a new account. And then once they are in there, if they have just logged in, they can add the card. And if they create the account, the card will already be listed. So then it's a case of clicking the activate card button. There are two criteria that need to be entered to activate the card, the physical card. So it is the recipient's surname as you would have supplied it to us on your spreadsheet, and it is an activation code. So this code with standard orders is issued to the client, so the contact who placed the order via email after the order is dispatched. It is the same code for all of the cards in that one order. And once they have those two criteria entered, they will see that the card is active and ready to be used in store. For the digital cards, you will need to download the Get My eCard app. And as I said, the cards are linked to specific emails. So it would involve creating an account on that app using the same email they received the card to. And once they're in the account, then they are free to add it to their Apple or Google Wallet, or then set it up for the online payment as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. I have a question here from Marion asking, can we pay the invoice with the company credit card?
No, not anymore. We were doing this up until earlier on this year, and we stopped it. The reason being is that it actually slows down the process. The system that we use from Mastercard um, does not natively allow payments by credit cards. And so what was happening was people were paying by credit cards, and then we had to manually transfer the funds into their client wallet. It was insecure, it was manual, and it was delaying things. And people's expectation was when you paid by credit card that the funds are available straight away so you can get your cards quicker. And in fact, it was the opposite. So because that experience was not good and was not going to be improved in any way, we've stopped it. So now funds can only be paid by bank transfer and by the individual IBANs that we give to clients so that it's securely transferred into a client wallet, which can then only be used for your orders. And also in that way, by paying by bank transfer, it bypasses the AllGo bank accounts. And so it makes the whole process completely secure. Your money goes from you into the MasterCard system and sits there in an Irish bank account regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. And the funds sit there until the cards are loaded and then the cards are spent and we don't have any access to it. So it's much, much more secure than the previous system we had for with credit card payments.
That's great. Thank you very much. I have a question about where the cards can be used abroad. So can they be used in other countries?
So yes, The card can be used abroad, so outside of the EU and UK as well. There are a few sanctions that are passed down to us by our Mastercard provider and Mastercard themselves as the licensor. So the details of those countries, there aren't too many, are listed on our website, allgogiftcard.com. But in general, you can use the card abroad once you have activated it within the EU or UK. And I also saw another question from a attendant that received a card last year and was trying to swipe it when abroad and was asked for a PIN. So there are some countries like Spain and Portugal where even if you swipe the card, it will ask for a PIN. It's quite unusual that it does that, but it does happen in the odd case. In that case, the PIN would either be the last 4 digits of the card number or 4 zeros. So either of those ones should work, but again, it is quite irregular that we see that.
Thank you. Another question here is, can the cards be ordered as gifts for clients, or are they solely as rewards for employees under the small benefit scheme?
No, you can order the cards for anyone. You need to supply us the same process. You need to supply us with the names of the people that are going to activate the cards afterwards. The only difference is if you give them to clients, that's not small benefit because it's not part of that scheme because they're not employees of your company. However, they are seen as sort of a marketing cost. So you would take that invoice, put it against your marketing, give it to your clients. They'll activate them, but their names will be on the card in the same way as if they were employees. So yes, you can definitely do that. It's just that it's not small benefit. It's a gift that you give to somebody else, and it's not subject to small benefit. But then it's not subject to taxes normally anyway.
Thank you very much. I have a question here who do people contact if there are issues with activating the cards? What is the best way of getting in touch with the customer service team?
That would be myself. So I have a team of 10 this year, and they are all really committed to providing you guys with the best level of service. Um, Probably the easiest way to contact us would be over email. So that is help@allgogiftcard.com. At this time of year, we do see an increase in the wait times if you're trying to phone us in. If you're happy to wait, absolutely you can you can wait on calls and someone will be happy to pick that up eventually. At the moment, I think it's about 10 minutes to wait for your phone call to be answered. But on the email, there usually is a much quicker response. And it's help@allgogiftcard.com for your recipients if they have activation issues. I would recommend the website is a really brilliant resource. It has tons of FAQs for all of those strange questions that we see each year. It has a full video walkthrough of exactly what the process looks like from a first person point of view when activating a card or creating an account. But of course, get in touch with us if there are any issues and we'd be delighted to help.
And I just to add to that, Sorka, from this weekend on, we are working 7 days a week between now and the 24th of December. So there are people there to answer your queries 7 days a week. But also, as Sorka said, we completely rebuilt our website this year around video, around FAQs, around chatbots, around trying to provide the information that everybody needs from ordering to activation to spending your cards. And there is a ton of information on there, and we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to access the information themselves. But also then if they do need to get in contact with us and need that extra help, just go onto our website, click the contact us button, you'll get our details, send us an email if you can, you'll get a response.
Thank you very much. I'm just looking through the questions here, and I know there's a few repeat questions that might have been answered already, but just in case anyone is joining us late, there's quite a few questions around activation of the cards and the email addresses for the spreadsheet of whether or not it has to be the same email address for activation. If someone wants to use their personal one as opposed to their employee email address, is that possible to change? Or is the information locked in from the original spreadsheet?
So the email address on the spreadsheet is only required if you're ordering digital cards. So you can put down either the recipient's personal email address or their work email address. But it will only be that email that will be able to redeem the card. So the process is that when they create the account in the app, they get a one-time passcode to verify their account creation, and it will go to the same email that they received the card to. So it's recommended to use the same email. For physical cards, so there is no email provided by you in your order spreadsheet. It's just the first name, surname, and amount. And the recipients are free to create their account under any email address that they prefer, or if they have an account, they can just log in with their existing details.
There is with physical cards, there's an activation code sent to you as the company, which the person is going to need to activate their card. So for every order, you'll get an activation code, and you need to send that on to the employees yourselves. And that means that the physical cards are completely secure because nobody can take those cards and activate them without that activation code, which is only sent directly to the company. So in both physical and in digital orders, the main job of the activation is to make sure that the cards do not get into anyone else's hands and are not used fraudulently, because as we all know, fraud is a huge problem now. And these measures are in place. While they make it a little bit more awkward to activate your cards, they make them way more secure. And that's the overriding concern that they address.
Thank you, Gary. And that also leads into the point that we don't recommend bulk activation for all of your order of physical cards. We do recommend that your employees do that themselves. So they have their own client portal and they have their own access if they experience any difficulty, if they lose their card, if they need a replacement, anything like that. They have the information themselves, and it's not with you, the employer.
Yeah, and in fact, it's not possible anymore to bulk activate your order. So that's another important point. That's changed in the last number of years. So previously, before, you could activate all the cards and then give them out to your employees. These are physical cards. That's not possible anymore. It's the card recipient who needs to activate their own card.
I did just see that message there from Macdara as well. Hi, Macdara. So if you do have older, or like I don't know what the Gen Z, the 21st century acceptable term is for this, but if you do have kind of less techie inclined people in your company, there is the potential that you can help them to create that account. So you would obviously have to have their permission to create that account and activate the card with them. Um, just make sure that, if you are doing that, that you have everything set up before you finalize the process. So if you were to activate their cards on your account, for instance, which wouldn't really be recommended, they wouldn't be able to log in and check their balance or check transactions or anything. They'd have to come to you and ask you for that information. So that should be considered at your own discretion.
Thank you. And I have a question here. If someone leaves the company before the end of December and won't be getting the card, can this be used by someone else?
So we do have our full order amendment policy on allgogiftcard.com. You can find that in the client terms and conditions. So if you have already gotten a card, you've paid for it, AllGo have dispatched it for one of your recipients, and now they are not going to receive that card anymore, there would be two options. So we can unload and refund that card back to your bank account, and that is a fee of €20 per card. Or alternatively, we could just refund the card, so unload the card back to the client wallet that we hold for your organization and your orders. That would be a fee of €10, and then you could reorder the card in whichever, other recipient name that you require, and we would use those unloaded funds towards your new order. But the new order would be subject to the same, delivery and card charges. If you do uh, strongly advise against giving a card to someone other than the named card holder. If they get in touch with us and ask for support, we will not be able to help them as part of our, card holder verification. So it is recommended that we do things properly. We unload the card, we get a fresh card sent out with the right customer name, recipient name.
Thank you very much. Looking here, I have a question here about the tax savings of the small benefit scheme. So as an example, what would be the tax savings for an employer giving a €100 voucher to their employee?
So if you give a €100 voucher to employee, for the employer, there's no employer PRSI, which is 11.5 something percent. So you save €10 there. For the employee, they are not subject to any BIK, so there's no income tax implication. So if you are an employee on the higher rate of tax, the higher marginal rate of tax, that's a saving of about 54%. So it's as opposed to getting €100 in your payroll, you'll pay between employee PRSI, employee income tax, and employees universal social charge. You'll pay over 50% of that will go in tax. So you'll end up with less than €50, and your employer, as the employer, you'll have paid €11 for that €100 voucher. Whereas if you give it on a small benefit scheme, the employee will get €100 tax-free, and the employer will save the employer PRSI. I hope I'm making that clear. So there's a saving there of approximately on €100, if you add up the two, approximately €65. So it's well worth it. But sorry, if you're on the lower rate of tax, then that €55 saving will be 20%, right? Because the 20% is the lower tax rate. So it depends on how much income on what the salary is of the employee that's receiving it, and that determines what the tax saving ultimately will be for the employee.
Thank you very much. I have a question here about, is there a help guide included with the physical card to advise the user on how to check the website for activation, etc.?
There is indeed. So on that card carrier that I mentioned earlier, once they remove the card from the little slots in that cardboard-ish card carrier, there is a brief description of the steps that they need to take, and it will bring them straight to allgogiftcard.com. So Gary has up the page there on the physical cards. So there are a number of different sections to answer any sort of question that they would have, from creating the account to activating the card to registering it for online use, going back and checking the balances, and then if they happen to lose the card, there is the option to request a replacement. And then we have a quite comprehensive category of FAQs regarding both the physical and digital card use. We have the questions that we see a lot about ordering the cards, and then also all of the questions regarding the small benefit scheme are there as well.
Thank you very much. I have a question here from Neve of, do we need to remove last year's digital card from an Apple Wallet before adding a new one this year?
So Neve, I'm not sure actually what the limit is from Apple themselves on how many cards you can have in a wallet at one time. I imagine it's upwards of maybe 10 that can be in there at one time. So you wouldn't actually need to remove the existing Digital Plus. If you already received one, there is a brand new one issued to you. And you can have both in your Get My eCard app. They'll appear side by side. And you can also have both in your wallet app. That is, if you have any money left over on the first one.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions in here again about minimum orders, and if there's any charges if the minimum order is not hit. If you could just re-clarify that for me.
No, there's no minimum order. You can order from one card up to 10,000 if you like, and you're charged accordingly.
Thank you very much. And then I just have someone asking to explain again the cost per card in terms of delivery, personalization, etc.
Okay, you'll find that again on the website on our pricing page and on the order page as well. So physical card starts at €5 per card and goes down to 0 depending on the size of your order. Digital starts at 6 and goes down to €1 depending on the size of your order. The delivery options for physical and digital, there's no delivery charge for digital. For physical, €15 courier delivery for bulk delivery of all your physical cards to your office is the normal one. So normally, if you don't go for any optional extras, you're paying a per card charge depending on the size of your order, and then €15 for physical delivery, or €6 per card for the Digital Plus card, which could be added to Google Pay and Apple Pay, and 0 for delivery. And then you have the optional extras, which are to do with express delivery, express order, I should say, order processing, and then personalization and branding. And so they're laid out here on the pricing page. And then to when you're placing your order, depending if you're placing a physical or a digital order, on the order form, you just tick the optional extras you want. And if you take a personalized message, you input it there. If you want to do a logo on the envelope, you upload the file with the order there. So I would say everything you need is on the website, and the order forms for physical and for digital have the spreadsheets of everything you need to have your order go through seamlessly. But I would say take a little bit of time and familiarize yourself with the order form, and then get all the details in when you're placing your order. Get them all in once, get them all in correctly with the spreadsheet and your optional extras chosen. You'll know what the pricing is going to be. There won't be any surprises, and there won't be any amendments and changes afterwards. That's the best and quickest way to get your cards delivered.
Great, thank you very much. I am aware we're getting to the end of our allotted time here, so I'm just trying to see, is there anything else that we missed in these questions? They're coming in still.
I did
Well,
just see a few
yeah.
questions there about the scheduling of the digital cards. So as we explained, it is an automatic process. So there is no option currently to schedule the delivery of your digital cards, right? So once your payment comes in, it usually takes us maybe like 12, sometimes 24 hours to reconcile that payment. And as soon as that payment matches to your open digital order, those cards are issued. So the recipients aren't notified when you place the order, but once that payment is reconciled, the cards will be going out. And unfortunately, there isn't any way for us to delay that. So what I would recommend doing is definitely placing your order within a period that is close to the day you want your cards to be received. Just bearing in mind that the uh, business lead 4 business day lead time can apply. It's usually faster for the digital cards, could be 24 hours from receipt of payment. So unfortunately, we can't really guarantee any specific dates for delivery.
And maybe just to wrap up here, to say there was a lot of questions coming in, and we will email out after this. It'll be tomorrow. The recording of this webinar. We'll put links in there to obviously the website, but also to the page where on our website that you can download a full guide to the small benefit scheme, or the full PDF Mastercard brochure, which has all the information in it as well. In addition to that, the FAQ section and especially the videos on our website about ordering, about activation, about 3D Secure, are all there. They're probably the easiest thing to do is to watch them on our website or on our YouTube channel. And finally, we will be having a LinkedIn audio event with the top FAQs from this webinar, and we'll be holding that on Friday week, tomorrow week, just in case anyone else, if there's any other questions that you have, you can go onto that LinkedIn only event and put in more questions there, or get this cut off lead time information again. So plenty of information there. And I'll just say thank you very much for everybody that participated. Very engaged audience today, great questions. And we hope that you place your orders early, that we deliver great gift cards and a great service. That's what we're aiming to do. And people have come onto this webinar today, hopefully will get the information they need to make that process as seamless and as stress less as possible in the next few weeks. So thank you very much again.